Hey, everyone. Welcome to Friday Night Live at 6:05. Change the time a bit. I'm Tori Humphreys, a professional life coach, here to help creatives move from abstract ideas to concrete realities. Today, our topic is on tips to get out of a creative rut. So recently, actually over the course of the past couple of years, I found myself in a creative rut with singing. Particularly a couple of years ago. It's actually been since 2020. So I started doing online self-paced voice lessons in 2020. And when I first started these lessons, I was pretty consistent with practicing. And it's one of those programs that kind of builds, like it starts off with a few steps at a time, and then it builds and builds and builds. And you add more as you go along. Now, like I said, I started off pretty consistent with my lessons, and that was great. Now, I don't know if this was because I had a lot of internal motivation or because it was 2020. There was a lot, that was going on in 2020. So this was like my motivation, my reason for being excited. And also I had this opportunity. Our church was doing a Houston Spurt's Got Talent. So I did a parody to a Hamilton song with my husband. And during this time, it was just really fun to have something to look forward to, especially during 2020. Now, what happened was after the performance, we got second place, won $500, which was incredible. But my motivation for singing significantly dropped. Why? Because I, expected myself to get first place and was really disappointed. And I didn't realize how it was actually affecting me. And since then, I haven't been consistent with those online self-paced singing lessons. So with that, because I haven't been consistent, there are some things that I have still been working through on, okay, how am I going to get out of this creative rut that I'm in? And I would love to share with you all just a few tips on how to be able to get out of a creative rut for my own personal experience and what I've learned. So one thing, I was really prideful in just wanting to take first place. And for me, when I was practicing, I believed that, okay, I'm doing this because I want to get first place. And if I didn't, then I expected perfection. And so that was part of the problem of my personal, my motivation for singing at the time was, okay, if I'm perfect, then that's why I'm singing. And so that was obviously problematic thinking on my part. Also, I'll say it was online self-paced. Okay, so for me personally, that's not necessarily my learning type of doing things on my own. And it was part of my pride. I'm going to do this. And it came to halt at a particular time. Now, for me, having support is really huge. And also having someone to provide feedback on my singing is very motivational for me. If I don't know how I'm doing, it can really affect how I view myself. And I have a lot of internal messages that went unchecked because I wasn't doing that reflective piece for myself. So, and I needed to admit to myself over the past couple of weeks even that, I need to have a one-on-one voice lessons with somebody else. That would be the most helpful for me. And problematic thinking was I believed I could do it on my own. And as much as I benefited from that program, it wasn't setting me up for growth. And here's what happened. I was telling myself the same thing over and over again. And the message was, if I keep doing this, I just need to keep trying and doing it the same way that I had been doing it. And this is the best way. And I kept pushing. But you know what it led to? Inaction. I decided, because of that mindset, that, it was too hard. I told myself this was the only way I could do it. But on the inside, I was really believing I don't have time to do this, because it didn't fit with how I was living. I've got my 2-year-old at home, and the rehearsals are an hour before the singing, before actually practicing. And right now, I don't have time to be committing an hour plus 4 to 5 times a week. That was just a lot. So, and I needed to acknowledge that. Even despite what other people may say too. They may say, okay, you need to do this, but find out what's working for you, because that really makes all of the difference in what motivates you. Because I was not very motivated, and what I was telling myself, I was contradicting myself, because I was telling myself, okay, you need to do this particular way. And I was also saying, okay, I can't do this. This is just not working out. So the inconsistencies led to me not being consistent. So, and also based on my lack of commitment and growth, deep down, I knew that wasn't true. And something to note, when you have an area where you may be struggling, also note in other areas. My husband personally also gave me feedback in ways in which I wasn't being flexible, just like I wasn't being flexible in adapting to what I needed in order to grow. And he's pointed that out in other areas. So when you find yourself, maybe it's creatively, maybe it's something else, if you find yourself stuck somewhere, I would highly recommend checking to see if there's other areas in your life where you're also struggling. Maybe other people around you can give you some feedback on that, because that can be a trend, because one area of your life affects another. So, and also generally, so for me, I experienced a lot of freedom with 3 tips, and here they are. Number 1, be adaptable. My mindset forced me to just go in this particular way, and it wasn't fitting. It was like literally stuffing an elephant in one of those doggy doors. Okay, it's not possible. Okay, at some point we have to reckon with ourselves that if something's not working, we need to try it a different way. And creativity in its essence is being willing to try something a different way and adapting to it. Our creativity is smushed when we aren't willing to be adaptable. So consider in your life ways in which you may be stuck thinking a particular way and not willing to part with that. And examine, why do I not want to change? What's behind this? For me, with the singing lessons, I thought that this was the best way and that I would learn the best. And I'm like, okay, I stuck with it. But in all honesty, it's not the best way, because I haven't consistently practiced in almost 4 years. So just re-examine and think hey, am I being adaptable in this situation? What can I do to show up so that I can grow and use my creativity? So number 1, be adaptable. Number 2, be humble. So be willing to learn from others no matter what level you are at. For me, the reason why I was being prideful, 1, it was if I'm not being perfect, then I can't do it. I basically quit doing singing lessons after I got 2nd place in a contest. And that really affected me, because I expected higher for myself. I didn't deal with the disappointment. I didn't deal with the hurt. And I considered myself better than that, and I didn't want to face myself. And because of that, I created distance in my practice because I wasn't showing up how I wanted to. Now, if I had the expectation going in that me practicing consistently would be enough, I'm pouring my heart and soul into this performance, and that's what makes it incredible. If I had that perspective, I would have been more motivated to keep going rather than to quit. Also, with it wasn't even one-on-one voice lessons. It was me learning from myself. And I'm going to be honest, we can only learn so much from ourselves before we hit a wall. We need to learn from other people and also teach other people too. So use other people around you to learn from. No matter what level you may think that you're at, there's always an opportunity to learn from somebody else. So number 1, be adaptable. Number 2, be humble. Number 3, be reflective. Continue to reflect as you keep going. For me, I kind of forgot and really didn't examine what was happening inside of me. So that means discovering what works for you and what doesn't. Why doesn't it work? Why is it working well? And base it on what's right for you and not for others. One thing that kept me going was I would continuously reach out to this vocal coach, and she would tell me, she didn't say try harder, but that's how I heard it in my head. And I'm like, if I just keep trying harder, I'm going to get it. If I keep trying harder. But in this particular case, it's just like I needed to try something different. I didn't need to try harder at something that wasn't working. And so in my reflections, I'm like, okay, it's been almost 4 years. I need to shift gears and try it a different way. But I had to reflect. I had to stop and be honest with the thoughts that I was thinking in my head. We have a tendency to keep going with projects that we've started just for the sake of trying to get them done. Maybe we're have beliefs of, because I started, I need to finish it. Or it may be, because I started it this way, I need to keep going in this line. Maybe you're writing a book and you're like, I don't even know, I don't want to have to start over. But if you're finding yourself stuck for a long period of time, consider what will actually take longer in the long run. Maybe it's trying to stay with that same concept, that same idea, because it's not getting you anywhere. So just consider and think about that. Also, notice how you are affected by the result of a performance or a project. I don't know if I would have kept going if I hadn't done the contest, or if I had gotten first place. But getting second place was so difficult for me, and I didn't realize the impact that it had on me until much, much later. So I encourage you to reflect that as you complete projects, as you complete performances, check in with yourself. How did I feel about that, and how is it affecting me? So, and here's my last point. Number 1, be adaptable. Number 2, be humble. Number 3, be reflective. And last but not least, be purposeful. Remember why you are doing what you are doing. And in your reflection, it should come up. For me, as I was doing my voice lessons, I was doing it to sound better. However, like I said, it was more or less trying to be perfect. I was telling myself, if I can't be perfect, then it's not worth it. And of course, who wouldn't stop after having that thought in your head over and over and over again? So remember, why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you singing? What is the heart behind that? Why do you draw? Why do you love taking photos? And stick to the core of that, because that is truly where the motivation is going to come in at. I realize that when I have something to look forward to, also, I am driven. So another thing, part of the reason why I looked forward to that contest that I was doing was because I had a goal to look forward to. If I have something to look forward to, I tend to be more consistent. And I'm happy to say that I found an amazing vocal coach who I'm about to start working with. And for me, setting those goals, being purposeful in setting goals, scheduling things that makes me work towards something is really helpful. And I'm really excited for this new turn of events to get out of my own personal creative rut. And I'm hoping that you all can do the same by being adaptable, being humble, being reflective, and also being purposeful. Thanks so much for watching Friday Night Live at 6:05. If you are ready to step into your dreams but need additional help, let's create a plan together to make your dreams a reality. Just message or email me to set up a time to talk. And remember, your worth isn't measured by likes, comments, or Zelle payments. Your value is immeasurable regardless of what lies ahead of you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.